Hey, there he is.
Hey,
The
it took me a while to get on
world
here.
famous. Yeah. Hey, I got rid of the comments too, so we don't have to listen to anybody's opinions but our own.
Well, there were so many comments coming in, I couldn't
I
find the
know.
request button.
I know. It's all good. You know what? I've been doing this for the last 2 weeks, and I have messed it up on so many occasions. It's actually painful. It's actually part of the journey now. Is people just tune in to make sure to see if I can actually figure Instagram out, and it's difficult, believe me.
Well, now that I've got it figured out, I might join you some more.
There you go. We'd love to have you, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Dr. Bucknam.
Wow, look at you showing some respect. That's right. I love it.
Well, I watched last week and somebody called you Jeff and you said it was Dr. Bucknam. So
It
I thought I
is.
better.
Do you know the problem with being a Christian pastor is you can never take advantage of your academic credentials. Like, because if you do, it sounds snotty, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But at least my title, doctor, is not anywhere near as high and exalted as yours is, your worship.
Henry's just fine.
Do you get used to that, by the way? Do you get used to being called your worship? It's an odd title, but it's.
Yeah, no, I know. It took me a long time to get used to it, and I've told people I have no need to be called that. You know, mayor is fine.
They're honoring the office, I bet.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I actually want to start by telling you I am so impressed by the way you're handling all this stuff with the city. I am. You're a true leader, and we're really thankful for you being in the office that you're in.
No, thank you for the encouragement.
Yeah, we've been praying for you, and it's been really great to see how you've been able to handle all this. Not easy, right? I mean, we've never faced this kind of thing before.
I don't think there's anybody alive that has faced this before. I mean, we got to go back 102 years.
Yeah, and because of that, I feel like we need to, at the very least, you don't require the grace because you've done so well, but it seems to me that we need to show a lot of grace to any of our leaders because, I mean, if I were in the position, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Who's ever done this?
Well, I'm thankful to have a great council around me and a great staff, so that makes life a lot easier too.
That's great. So you've been spending some time trying to communicate, I'm assuming, with Abbotsford, and so I want to give you the opportunity to give the single most important message that you're trying to spread in Abbotsford about this. Like if you have an opportunity here to speak to people who will then speak to people, hey, Mayor Braun said this. What is that message?
Well, it's been a singular message for the past 3+ weeks, and that is to obey the orders of our chief medical officer, Dr. Bonnie Henry. We are very grateful and thankful that she's in this province because she knows what she's doing. She's lived through Ebola in West Africa and MERS or MERS and SARS and a lot of other things that we probably don't know anything about. So I have great respect for her and what she's doing. And I just encourage people just to keep on doing what she says. Stay at home as much as you can. Not everybody can stay home.
Right.
But the distancing, they called it social distancing, but now we call it physical distance of 2 meters.
Right.
That and washing your hands with soap and water are the two best things we can do to break this chain of transmission.
Totally. My hands are raw right now. Like I honestly, I don't think the backsides of my hands have been touched this much in my entire life. But
yes, I hear you. And I had to go buy my first tube of hand cream about 4 weeks ago because the backs of my hand were cracking. And so I feel for you, brother.
Yeah. Well, you keep wondering, what is going on back here? Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm washing my hands. It's probably a sign of how badly I've been done in the past. Yeah, I keep thinking that maybe the flu viruses that just normally float around are going to not have anywhere near the impact they have in the past because we're going to be so good at the hand washing after this.
Well, and then I found out once you had the cracks and you put that hand sanitizer on, the alcohol in there, it stung like crazy.
That's right. That's right. So the city has responded pretty well. I've actually been really amazed at how well people have taken that Bonnie Henry's advice.
Yes.
Have you been impressed?
I have been as well. And I'll use myself as an example. So, you know, as I get older, I gain more weight, and my wife keeps reminding me I shouldn't eat this, I shouldn't eat that, I should change some of my behaviors. But the problem is I like food so much I don't do it. But when it comes to social, the distancing of the 2 meters, I find that everybody is pretty much obeying that. And I would not have guessed that at the beginning. I'm even to the point now when I come home and I forget just for a second, and my wife Velma comes up to me and I said, "Whoa, you're in my space,"
Yeah,
because
totally.
I'm so used to the 2 meters. Because at work we are fanatic about it. So
Yeah, stand back, ma'am.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I actually we go for walks with I go for walks with my wife almost every night, and it's almost become instinctive for people when they see you coming on the sidewalk. One of you will kind of dip onto
yep.
the street, and we nod at each other and keep going. I mean, all over the place. I've never seen more people walking around Abbotsford or cycling, but everybody's giving each other a good amount of room.
Yeah, they are. And it's great to see. And I think that's why we're seeing a flattening of the curve, especially in British Columbia.
Right.
There's lots of other reasons. Dr. Bonnie Henry and what she's doing and is part of that. But the other part is people have been obeying more than I thought they would, and that's great.
Yeah. Have you noticed anything else in the city that you're proud of? Maybe what happens at 7 p.m.
Well,
Holy smokes.
yeah, it's all the good things that I hear that people are doing. I mean, there's corporations that are giving their employees $500 to give either for their own families, or if they don't need it, pass it on to pay it forward to someone else. People providing food and products to our frontline workers, our doctors, nurses, some of them for free.
Yeah.
They provide this stuff. It's just the coming together of a community. I'm not sure we'll ever be the same again
I hope not.
on a positive note.
Yeah, I hope not. There's a spirit in the air of genuine grace and interest in the other. You're right, and
Yep.
other people, no matter what their background or whatever. I don't want to see them die, and they don't want to see me die or my parents die. And
Yep.
it's really great to see even some of the. I mean, surprised at the young people, my kids, in high school, college age. They're right into it. They're like, no, we're not gonna. You don't want to put anybody at risk. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I had to have a long chat with one of my grandsons who's 19, who came back from Europe, and he wanted to go see his buddies after his 14 days of self-isolation. I said, no, you're not going anywhere.
That's right.
Because he's got an underlying health issue, and
Yeah.
we have to protect each other. And if I get it, I may pass it on to you, and the next thing you're sick. And anyways, we have to all do our part, and we should continue to do what we're doing. And I'm just thankful that there are so many people that are actually doing that.
Yeah. So that doesn't mean there's no needs in the city. You're probably really well connected to the different needs around the place. And by that, I mean like food bank and homelessness response. And there are different kinds of communities that many of us don't have a lot to do with normally. Can you give us a little bit of information on maybe how we can be a part of it or how we can support them?
Well, you are already, Northview is already a part of it in so many different ways, and people who belong to Northview, I hear stories all over the city, and not just Northview, there's other communities of faith that are doing the same thing. But the food bank for sure is top of the list. They can use cash and or canned goods because there's a lot of people that have lost their jobs. Before all of this happened, I had people tell me that there was 4,000 people in this city that were one paycheck away from being homeless. Well,
Ooh.
those paychecks have stopped now.
Yeah.
And the needs for our small businesses, this is a time when we need to support our small businesses because many of them are hurting. And this isn't going away in 2 or 3 weeks. This is going to be with us for a few months. And then maybe it's going to be ups and downs until there's a vaccine, which is, they tell me, the end of the year. So yeah, the homeless population, Northview's doing some things with our advisory committee. I know Bakerview is as well. King Road, I can't remember his name, Penner, I think, with the portable showers.
Yeah.
So it's great to see believers coming out and getting involved in our community and doing and demonstrating that in a tangible way. So it's just awesome.
Is there a way that people, like if somebody hears you say that and the food bank, they should obviously go directly to the food bank if they want to talk to somebody? Is there someone in the city they can speak to about maybe a special area of need?
Yes, Dino K. Beno is our coordinator. If they phone City Hall and ask for Dina, she'll connect them. There's 60, 70 service providers that she works with and that are connected with the city. She's done an amazing job, and the committee Actually, Ross Siemens chairs that committee, so I think you know him.
I do, yeah.
And I should say Councillor Siemens. But,
yes, well, it's okay. He has a first name as well.
but yes, we'll plug you in because, you know, different people have their heartstrings are drawn to different things. Everybody isn't drawn to X, they're drawn to Y. And so the homeless community, of course, is a vulnerable community, but there's many elderly people who are on our streets too.
Yeah. So are there any other ways that the people of Northview can support the city at this time?
Well, I should have maybe started with that first.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pray,
Yeah,
and pray, and then pray some more, because for the city, for our council, for our staff, that we would make the right decisions, because there's no playbook for what we're going through. And we're going to make some mistakes. I just don't know where they will be and when they will be, but and then we'll ask for forgiveness and move on, make some changes and carry on.
Yeah. Are you holding on up okay?
I am, actually, and so is Velma. She's pretty much staying close to home other than going grocery shopping, so she doesn't want to pick up the virus either. So yeah. But together, we, if she was here, she would say both of us feel the power of prayer.
Yeah.
There's not a day goes by somebody's phoning me or well, not so much coming in the office now. They don't come in because we're locked down.
Yeah.
But, you know, before I was out and about and people just wanted to let me know that they were praying for myself and our council.
Yeah.
And so don't stop that, and pray for wisdom and discernment, because we have lots of decisions to make in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That we would do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? I think I speak for everybody that I know, and please take it from heart, at least for my church, that we believe that you're God's man in this time. And I mean, it's awesome that you're in this position, and just for such a time as this, you've been placed here. And none of us has any idea why we're in the positions we're in, but we're going to do our best. So we really do want to thank you very much.
No, thank you.
You're okay taking a couple questions. If somebody's got a question, you can actually submit it. It's not going to show up on the screen, but I'll be able to see it, and then I will ask it if it's appropriate. If it's a dumb question, Mayor Braun,
there's no such a thing as a dumb question.
Oh, really? You've not been on this before.
Okay.
There are dumb questions. Yes. And usually asked by many people in my church. That's okay, though. I'm usually one of the ones who asks them.
Okay. Well, that's
do you
all
have,
right.
how many kids do you have? You have family, and they're all nearby?
Two kids. They're married, and 5 grandkids. And you know, the hard part is I haven't seen my grandkids in I guess it's coming up 4 weeks, and that's tough because, you know, I can't hug them anymore. I mean, we FaceTime and we talk on the phone, but it's not the same as just grabbing them and giving them a big hug. Same thing with my mom. She's in assisted care home, and she's 89, and you know, we have to talk to her from the grass, and she's up on the 5th floor in the balcony. So yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, very tough.
Yeah.
You start realizing how important social, physical contact is. That we are, you know, we're embodied people. Where it's not. This is not quite the same as sitting across from each other, having a coffee and talking.
No.
One of the questions that was asked is, "What are you watching on Netflix?"
What am I watching on Netflix?
Do you have any recommendations? That seems to be the most important thing right now. Is everybody's kind of gone through it all. Maybe you've got a mayoral recommendation.
Yeah, we were watching. Is it The Best Little Farm?
I don't know.
I think that's what it's called.
Biggest.
Sorry, my wife heard me. She says it's The Biggest Farm, The Little Farm. Yeah, I recommend it for kids especially. It's wonderful. The first part's a little slow.
Somebody asked
10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, that's good. See, that's a good recommendation. Somebody asked what you have learned about our city through all this. Have you learned something new? I mean, I'm assuming you already believe that the city was capable of rich civil responsibility and love, but is there anything else that surprised you or you've learned about?
Yes. What surprised me, you know, even though I've lived here 65 years, I thought I knew a lot about the city. Every day, well, maybe not every day, but for sure 2 or 3 times a week, I would learn things that are going on in our city that I had no idea. With a global reach in some cases, but the generosity and the caring community that this is, I didn't really appreciate it, because as a mayor, you have a much broader you have a broader engagement with the community. Because, you know, I had my networks, and, you know, I had my, you know, in the church and maybe a couple other churches, but now I'm all over the place, and some of the cool things that people are doing, and the generosity of the people who I had never met before, and just getting to hear their stories about how they started whatever they're doing and the passion that they had. It's just neat to listen to those stories. And I've told some of them, you need to write down those stories and pass them on to your kids.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one might be a little bit harder, and you can say, I don't know yet. It's totally fine. But one person wanted to know, will there be a delay in the paying of property taxes this year?
I don't know.
Yeah, boy.
Council, no, but council has not made that decision, nor have we had the discussion.
Yeah.
We're actually waiting for the province to give us some guidance.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make much sense if every other community is doing something different. That just confuses people, and you get a leapfrog because somebody says, well, the neighboring community did deferred it for 90 days. How come you aren't doing that? Boy, you guys must have cold hearts or something.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for some guidance. I was actually on a telephone call with the mayors in the Fraser Valley and Minister Selena Robinson, and we were talking about that very topic. But I'm guessing within 2 to 3 weeks we'll know. But we are looking at that. We are looking at, is there some more things that we can delay, and so even to, because we had a proposed property tax increase of 2.97, I think, back in November, December. We probably will be shaving some of this, a little bit off of that as well. We want to help because there's a lot of people hurting. I mean, there's a lot of businesses that have just shut down completely.
Yeah, and I think this is, you know, it's a good thing to remind all of us too. If of all the times that shopping local is a valuable thing, this might be one of them. You might actually be saving a business or two if you're willing to, you know, buy some food or, you know, get something locally. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So there is one person who wrote and said, can you clarify the rules, maybe through your interpretation of Bonnie Henry? Is it okay to visit someone as long as you stay 2 meters apart?
Well, she probably, if it's in your family, well, yeah, the most important thing is to keep that 2 meters apart. That's 6 foot 6 inches. So you don't need to take a tape measure with you, but it's okay. Like if you meet up in the park and have a discussion, that's fine. She's encouraged us to go outside to get some exercise, because otherwise people are going to go stir crazy. But what's not okay is to gather in groups of 10 to 12 people or more in close proximity, because the virus is only transmitted through droplets. Somebody coughs or sneezes, it can't swim more than 6 feet, 7 feet. So that's the important part. But the problem when people start wanting to congregate in different spots and stay 2 meters away, other people watch that and they say, oh, well, I should do that too. I still encourage people to stay home as much as you can. And if you go outside, our kids don't come here. I'm on acreage. I said, no, you guys got to stay home, because you never know where you will pick it up. So the best thing we can do for another 2 or 3 weeks is just to stay isolated. I am a little concerned about this weekend because of the nice weather. It's a 4-day long weekend. Yeah. And I drove over Clearbrook Road in the freeway maybe around 4 o'clock this afternoon, and I saw too many campers heading east. So I wasn't happy about that.
Yeah. Yes. As far as the parks go, are the parks largely closed, or there's just like one, you know,
our city parks are all open.
Okay.
I've had some pressure from people in our community saying close all the parks down. We're going to go stir crazy if we do that. It's
God
okay.
bless you, brother.
Yeah, it's okay to go outside. Now, what's closed is our provincial parks.
Yeah.
And I think the province made a wise decision, because they don't want people to go up into the interior and to their cabins or camp in the bush, because they're going to go in for supplies in different places, and you know, all of a sudden they transmit it into a community where they don't have it before, and they won't have the medical facilities or personnel there to help if somebody gets really sick. So the best thing is just to stay home, especially this weekend. Take time out to enjoy your family. If you've got kids at home, I know you do,
I do.
kids at home, and turn the TV off and just talk to one another. And there's actually a part of this that's been quite therapeutic for me, because
Yeah.
my calendar events just kind of emptied out 3 weeks ago, and I have lots of time. Otherwise, I probably couldn't have done this, because we were just about out every night doing
I
some
know.
function in our city.
Yeah, I was sitting next to my wife in the sunshine in the front on my front driveway today, thinking to myself, when do I do this in the
Yeah,
middle of
yeah,
the day? It's fantastic in some
yeah,
ways, and yet awful in all the obvious ways. Okay, we
yeah.
started with a goofy one about Netflix. We'll end with a really good cerebral one. You have any good book recommendations?
Any book recommendations? I have not read a lot of books other than workbooks, like
Okay,
municipal
I'm not.
bylaws.
I'm not sure.
I've been reading too much of that. What's the last book I'm just trying to think. I usually have about 3 or 4 at any of them,
Oh,
probably in the last
yeah.
2 months. But when I think of it, I'll answer. I'm
It's
trying to
okay.
pull the
You
one
don't
out
you
of
don't
my.
have to. Isn't it funny how I used to read a lot of books, and now I read articles almost all the time. It's
Yes,
article. And
and
now I've
that's what I
realized
do.
that
I
yeah,
used
go
to
ahead.
love reading James Michener's books.
Yeah. Well, now I read a lot of nonfiction, and I've realized that most of the books are just extended articles that could have been said more concisely in
Yep.
an article. But anyway, I'm also cheap, and I don't want to spend the money. So, hey, thank you so much. God bless you. I thank you so much, and for the work you're doing and the work our city's doing. We do pray for you guys an awful lot, and we will continue to. Okay.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
you keep safe, and thanks so much for doing all you do.
And we are praying for you and all of the other communities of faith in our city, because we are blessed by just the work that our churches are doing,
Yeah.
and other faiths as well, because everybody's chipping in and doing
Yeah.
their part, and it's just great to see. It's what a community should look like.
Yeah.
And I think we as believers can demonstrate and declare Christ to community. This is what it should look like when we help and look after and love one another.
Absolutely. So everybody who's watching this and been a part of it, can you, once you get off of here, just say a prayer for Mayor Henry Braun and our council, and for the homeless situation, and for the food bank and Salvation Army and all those who are trying to do all that work. Thank you so much, brother, for being a part of this with us. And God bless you. Hope to talk to you again sometime soon. Next time, face to face, I hope.
Thank you. Yes. And thank you for the opportunity to be with you.
Okay. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Yep. Bye-bye.